Hey guys, I'm wearing autumn colors. It's a wonderful autumn day. Uh, just a nice, fun little story in the midst of this dumpster fire of a year we're having. Things have been all right lately, I have to admit, but there's something that would have happened right around the start of the year that actually was really, really heartwarming. That I remember. That's a positive memory I can take from this year. It involves my 5-year-old daughter, and she had just turned 5, and like my wife and I, we like to watch a lot of 80s songs, and this one actually was at the start of the 90s, but the Genesis song Jesus He Knows Me. We watched the music video for that every so often, and we were watching it one day, and our daughter kind of likes that song too. We actually have it to play in the car on a CD too. But obviously, if you've seen the song or heard the song or seen the video, you know it's about televangelists who are frauds and who use the cover of the faith and religion to feed their lavish lifestyles and just be jerks and monsters. And I remember that day we of course were watching that video. I remember also I probably that day dived into some old footage from on that's on YouTube about Jim Baker, a real televangelist who lived in the well, I think he's still alive, but in the 80s, he had developed this empire, but then, was exposed as a fraud, fell into serious disrepute, and had his, personal downfall, and anyways, but I remember we were talking, my little girl was playing on the floor, and my wife and I were talking about the song Jesus He Knows Me and how it's a really cool song, but it's also kind of sad because it's true. Uh, and we had to explain to our little girl. I explained how, well, Jesus, that song is about people like that who say they follow Jesus, or that they know Jesus, but they really don't. They just use his name to do bad things and tell people lies. And I explained how, even Jesus himself said, you know, we should watch out for people like that, and not follow them. And then my little girl melted my heart. She looked up and she was like, "But I I don't follow them. I follow you, Daddy." And it was so cute. It she was so beautiful even when she said it, but it was so cute and it was so true because she follows me because I'm her daddy. And that really just drives it home how she understands how she needs me to lead her. And by leading her, I just need to really be a good example. And I need to, be somebody who is positive for her, somebody on whom she can lean, and just all those things, that a good daddy needs to do. But just the fact that she knows that she can follow me is just amazing. It's like everybody knows the movie Wreck-It Ralph. And it's crazy because my wife and I would have watched it back in 2013 before we ever knew we were going to have a daughter. And I remember watching that movie, and of course, if you've seen the movie, there's the first Wreck-It Ralph, and then there's Ralph Breaks the Internet, which came out or just a year ago, and then. But I remember we watched that movie, and it was like amazing. Like I almost had a premonition, if it could, if you, I don't know, maybe it wasn't, but it was just like, man, if my wife and I have kids, or at least have a kid because we hadn't had kids yet, I almost was like, I'll love whoever we have, but maybe my heart has always leaned towards having a daughter. But it's cool at the end of the movie. I just remember Ralph, saying how he looked out at Vanellope's game at Sugar Rush, and he's like, I really don't need a medal to be a good guy, because if that little girl likes me, how bad can I be? And it's like crazy. Even in that moment in the theater, I'm like, man, wouldn't it be amazing if I actually had a little girl who thought that of me? And then next thing you know, like, would have been, I guess, about a year, maybe a year and a half later, that we found out we were going to have a kid. And then, of course, later, I think a couple months later, I remember being in the sonographer's room and found out it was going to be a girl. It was like my wildest dream had come true. And it's just amazing. But it's like the fact that it got to the point where it did, where my little girl could look up to me and say, I follow you, Daddy. I mean, that's just amazing. And I don't take it for granted. I have her, and I have a beautiful and loving wife. And let's face it, if they like me, how bad can I be? That's just sometimes that's just the most important thing I can remember. But thanks for listening.